Okay, letting people know. Hey everyone, this is Michael with Mber Creative. I handle the creative direction for Will, and we're going to get going here in a minute. I'm going to let this kind of run and yeah, for the next like minute or so, and just let people join in before we get started. So yeah, please answer or please ask any questions now. I'm going to kind of keep them in the question loop, and I will ask Will as we move forward through this video here. Wanted to do a quick test with the microphone. Can someone just let me know that we are being heard? Can you hear me right now? Good. Thank you. So before we begin this real quick, thanks for joining. Right in front of us right now, just want to do a quick thank you to a cool company that is fairly new called Elegantly Raw Canvas, and they've provided these really wicked 36 by 36 raw canvases framed, which is, if any of you know, is extremely challenging to get in the industry right now. You can find lots of regular primed canvases, but these are both raw, and the one on the right is pure linen. And they will be coming out with these over the next few months, and we wanted to give a quick shout out to them. I'm going to post their Instagram handle and website in the caption after this video, so you can link right to them if you're interested in taking a look. But I highly suggest you go do that. So thank you, Elegantly Raw Canvas, for providing these today. You want to pop in?
Yep.
Again, thank you, everyone. Ask any questions that you'd like. So anyway, we're here in our studio in Boulder. I can do a quick little pan around here. This is Will's space. He's painting on this wall here. And we've got these you've seen in the last few reels that we've been working on, and we'll continue to work on today after this. And this kind of goes all the way around back there. Lots of stuff going on here in Boulder today. Kind of snowy out. Awesome. So again, feel free to ask any questions that you'd like about anything that's going on, anything that you've seen us use on Instagram lately, anything about canvases, anything that you can think of, feel free to go ahead and ask. We'll probably spend the next, 20, 30 minutes or so doing this, or until questions run out. But, okay, well, let's get started here real quick.
Okay.
How's that linen?
It's actually really soft. I love the texture. You can see how it pulls some of the existing linen and it brings it out, creating this nice natural texture of the canvas.
Its colors look nice.
Yeah.
What product? So I'm going to answer this question really quickly. we got the question again, what products is he using? So I started off this live with a little bit of an introduction, but I'll answer that
Yeah.
because now we have more people who joined. The two canvases that you see here are provided to us by a new company called Elegantly Raw Canvas, and they are doing something that I've never seen in the industry, and that is providing legit pre-framed raw canvases, not gessoed, raw. There's a lot of people who like painting on raw canvas, like Will. He loves it, and these guys reached out to us and wanted to provide these to him. The one he's painting on now is a linen raw, and the one that you can see behind him is a more traditional raw canvas. But they come framed, and we are going to stretched and framed. Like you can see, he's pushing on it right now, and it's nice. I At the end of this live, I'll pop in like the information in where you can link through to them and check them out. But we highly suggest it, and thank you again, Elegantly Raw, for providing these today. So that being said, uh, first question, other than that one,
Yeah.
are you painting with acrylics or oils right now?
I'm painting with oils. I love it. I'm just trying something new and different with this raw linen canvas, which you can see creates a very different texture because of the softness of the material, first of all. So I'm kind of experimenting to see where this is going to go.
It looks good.
Yeah.
Okay. So from another person looking at the canvases, do you stretch your own linen? I can do a quick little answer to this. No, this linen is pre-stretched and prefabricated, and we'll provide those details of where you can find it. We were gifted these, which is amazing. Gessoed versus raw canvas, pros, cons.
I think that's a good question. I think it really depends on if you're looking to do more of a very, very detailed painting. Um, I think the gessos are really wonderful because it's tight and it seals the colors in. The unprimed gives me so much more different freedom, and a lot of mysterious kind of results will come from it. And when I say mysterious, it's like these unknowns. Like I want to see what's going to happen and have it happen organically. And so I really love that type of freedom while I paint.
So at the end, when you're done, do you ever varnish?
I used to, but I don't do it anymore because of the heavy chemicals, and a lot of people love it. I've learned that the painting, if you're using the right paints, it will shine in its own way, and I don't need to varnish certain pieces. And again, it's one of those things where it's nice, it's glossy, but I also like the different viscosities that come along with the colors from the oils and acrylics. It creates different depths.
I can answer a couple of
Yeah.
these real quick. The medium that he's using right now these are oil paints that you see. That's oil on linen right there. And behind him is a general, more standard canvas. But the one you see now is linen. The white bottle is paint thinner.
Yeah.
That's thin the paint. Let's see. Any good advice for a young artist?
Yeah, I remember when I first started to paint, the advice was just go out and paint as much as you can and do not worry about what everybody else is saying. The truth is you have to experiment and you have to get into your paintings. The only way to do that is to practice and play as much as you can. So find a place that you feel comfortable learning how to experiment and get vulnerable and paint as much as you can.
Okay. Yes, I am going to. I got asked twice. I'll get closer to the linen in
Yeah.
a minute here. Maybe you can do a little bit of painting, not get it on your clothes.
Yeah.
But let me just ask a couple quick question.
Yeah.
How much thinner do you feel you use with this kind of technique that you're doing right now?
That's a good question. If you could see each canvas, like this is very thin, very light. So I can see the paint is holding very nicely on the canvas. So I'm not using a lot. and I'm just kind of dabbing through it.
I'm gonna get closer here, guys.
Because I want it to soak in properly. So I'm not using, you can see it's just a light. And I want to see how this thing blends already. And it's really unique, but it's different.
Yeah, the linen is freaking cool. Like I'm trying to get as close as I can with an iPhone, but you can see the texture there. It looks awesome and soaking in nicely.
Yeah, so you got to figure out if you want texture and it's raw, this is a really cool canvas and process to do that with.
Yeah,
If you don't, this is certainly not your medium. You got to kind of, again, you got to experiment. You don't know what's going to come out perfect and it's successful.
right.
Sometimes your intentions are so great, but then your results are horrendous because you're like, oh, I was too in my head and less working from my heart.
I'm gonna go put us back here on the thing here. Could the look that you have going right here now, could that be achieved with acrylic?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a very good question. You know, it's interesting because I like working on bowls, right? And you have an opportunity to really, the difference is obviously acrylics dry so quickly. So you have to be in the mojo to be able to work and manipulate the paint. And you have that same effects. Oils, you can really be patient and take your time because it takes a long time for it to dry. So that's a wonderful question. And I go back and forth between oils and acrylics all the time.
Yeah, I can even add in being that I'm here often filming him is we generally speaking there's kind of like ebbs and flows with acrylic versus oil. I think in the past month or two it's been a lot more oils than we anticipated. This over here, both of these are oils, and these have been in the last couple of reels that I've posted, and as you can see, like that's I think what is this, Will? 2 or 3 foundations already?
Yeah,
I think it's 2.
but you can tell the difference is that there's a softness. The viscosity of oils I love working on because the texture is there, but
Right.
also you have a little. It's gentle. You can make big strokes and really not create all this heavy texture. You can just let it start blending.
How do you decide about your color combinations?
I love that question. I think the color combinations I look at my canvas, then I look at what's going on, and then I start working from it. So it's completely, I wouldn't say random, but it's a state of just curiosity and freedom.
Yeah.
With colors come about.
Is there a way to slow down the drying of acrylics?
Of acrylics dry really quickly. You don't want to do that. It's oils that you want to probably slow down a little.
I think the whole point of the acrylic is for it to dry quickly so you can build layers on it quick.
Yeah.
Like with these over here, we have to wait days before we can build the second layer.
Yeah, so it doesn't blur, you know?
Do you use a sponge as a brush? I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
I love that. I use it because I like the big strokes, but I don't finish the whole canvas with this. Remember, there's so many different tools we use.
Right. Chiming in here, I feel like I've been working with Will for almost 4 years now, and I always see this sponge come out in the beginning as kind of like a foundation layer. It just spreads the oils really nicely without kind of those brush strokes that kind of happen often, and provides him a great foundation for what he's going to build upon.
See how it's with oil, it has such an incredible palette to mix.
Right. Do you ever mix acrylic and oil?
Sometimes. Yeah, I'll do that.
It's not very often though.
No, but I just do it for base layers, and then just for color tones.
Yeah. So kind of a back question. We sometimes we get asked this question, sometimes we don't, but and we didn't answer it yet. This goes to Chantel Berry Art. Um, can you take us back to your mindset
Like
in the
this.
first years of painting?
Oh
I'm in
boy.
year 3 of exploring and would love any wisdom.
Yeah, I think, wow, that's such a fun question to reflect on. I think what I remember so much is that the expectations were so much lower, and it gave me a lot more freedom to paint. And so I think what the ultimate goal is, no matter how long you paint, is to remember those beginning stages of what it's like to paint, and 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 your curiosity, because you're so hungry to create. And I've been painting now 17 years full time. It changes. And so to go back to year 3, I was just full of excitement. I still have it, but it's like that burst of uncertainty because you don't know what's going to come about. So the advice is to constantly experiment, go to different places and paint. Don't be in one studio, don't be in one room. Constantly be in different places and learn how to work on different scale and use different materials and different tools.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Do you paint directly from the tube without any linseed oil?
I do. I used to in the beginning, and I got too technical, and I got in my head. And so what I want to do is be able to react to the canvas with the color, and then I can start manipulating it that way. Linseed oil is really, it's awesome, but for abstract artists, for me, in a large scale, I kind of don't have that luxury to be so detailed.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Any advice for applying to galleries? That's a tough one.
I think that changes.
Yeah.
Any advice is just you have to you have to show up and make an effort and figure out what the style is for the gallery and what they're selling, and kind of just I think you need to go to the events, go to the galleries that you like, and I think you need to just be authentic, be yourself.
Yeah. This is not so much of a question as a kind of like I'm a fellow artist and architect, and you've been my
Yeah.
inspiration all along. Um, I mean, this is the latter part of this. She mentioned she loves to paint big,
Yeah.
and I think like the question is, can you please recommend how to embark in the large painting market? But I don't. That's a complicated question to
Well,
answer. So I think the better question is like how do you get inspired to paint large, and then like where do you go with that?
well, I think since you said you were a fellow architect, I remember being, working on job sites. As you know, I've transitioned from architecture to painting. That helped me think big, and that helped me think how to go from a really small, CAD image or some schematic design to really apply it into buildings, right, or homes. So what I would say to you is just constantly um, take a large canvas, take a raw canvas if you can, throw it on your floor, walk on it, see it from all different perspectives. That's what we did as architects, right? And there was always a curious adventure, kind of seeing how you can move through a space or create a space. But I think the ultimate goal for you is just find a place that you can feel free, throw out a big canvas or a couple, and let it talk to you. Start playing with it. That's what we do in architecture.
Going to get closer for a
Yeah,
couple of these questions again because it's like kind of more technical stuff.
yeah.
Do you use unprimed canvas when you're working unstretched and large?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
I'm
mean,
kind
I
of.
will sometimes.
Yeah, here we go. I'll come over.
Yeah.
I'll do a quick little. This is large um, raw. So just to give you an idea, that it definitely is something that is done. So do a quick little back over to here. Okay, next question. I lost it. How does the raw canvas hold up with the oil paints directly on it? I thought primer was required.
You know what? It probably is. For me, it's just showing different types of um, kind of softness. Primer is excellent. I do this, it's not going to eat through the canvas. As we all remember, Jackson Pollock in his day used to use Duco car paint, very, very heavy paints on raw canvas, and obviously ate through some of the canvas. But now the materials are so different that it's not going to, in the same effect, do what they did back in the 50s and 60s with that heavy, heavy acrylic paints. So, but it's up to you. I mean, like, yeah, this. I'm working with the informalities of the canvas and all the different shapes and textures um, and threads, and that builds a whole new rapport. And look how it's already come together really quickly.
It looks great.
You know,
Here's kind of a broad kind of question, but one I don't know if we've ever gotten before in any of these. Is painting abstract more challenging to make than figurative?
I think they're both challenging.
Right.
You know, that's a good question. I focus, you know, on this type of organic relationship to the canvas and shadows and reflections. I think it's painting in general is challenging, right? No matter what you decide to do, drawing, painting. So to me, this is like a beautiful portrait, and so I see the world a little differently. I don't necessarily see it so like a still motion. So I'm capturing what I see is a portrait of a moment or an impression of the world.
Okay. See what else. I want to do a little bit more painting. I'm going to get up close. That seems to be like the big thing that everybody's interested in, is like how it's kind of sets on the canvas and where it goes.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
See if I can get that.
See how I just blend it? It's just, you have to find your own kind of, I think, style. It will lead you to kind of this joy and sensibility. Each canvas has a story to tell, right? And each product, like this raw canvas, is going to tell a very different story than something that I want for a larger piece. And the textures of this, you know, it's different. Some people are like, oh, that's weird. Well, it's actually, I'm highlighting some different elements of it that shows this, you know, I think three-dimensionality with all these informal textures from the cloth, from its pulling, from its wetness.
Yeah. I'll answer this one real quick just because it's simple, basic. But do you ever use linseed oil at all? I mean, I've been working with Will for 4 years, and I've never seen linseed oil used.
No, I haven't used it in a long time. Yeah. In the beginning, I did.
Right.
But then, you know, again, what I'm doing is I'm attacking the canvas, right? And I'm just sort of seeing how it evolves.
So while you're painting, how are you able to come to the studio and work so consistently?
That's a great question.
Yeah, that's a great question.
It is.
I don't think I've ever gotten that.
Well, I think that's one of the hardest things for artists. No matter what level you are, you're selling, you know, $50 million painting, or you're just doing it for your own self. It's the motivation. I think it takes a lot of commitment, you know, and it takes commitment and drive to be able to, you know, be part of this new adventure of creating, you know, a new story. And it's hard to open up your heart and show up every day. And so I recognize that. So some days it's awesome. Other days it's like, oh, I'm painting mud. I'm very emotional. I can't feel anything. I don't want to paint anymore. But I show up. You got to show up. You got to come to the studio. Like people say, you got to go work out. Well, that's important, but you got to come to the studio and paint.
Right. Where do you kind of see yourself growing as an artist in the next few years?
That's a great question. I think we're always evolving. I think it's, yeah, I would say I see myself continue to create in very different levels of scale, and I'd like to travel more, where I'd like to see myself as not just in one studio. I'd like to be painting a lot of different scenarios across the world, and obviously be able to share that through different exhibits and partnering with some really people I trust and who I believe in and who I care about. Um, and I think that is just the ultimate goal, is to be with people that you really, that surround yourselves with creativity but inspires you. And every
Yeah.
day is a new challenge. So I don't have the answers, but I know I'm going to show up and continue to be adventurous and have painting as part of that dialogue to the world.
Yeah, we'll take one or two more questions here and then we'll wrap up. So if you want to pop one in, go for it. I'm gonna swing by the other raw canvas to kind of show
Yeah.
that difference between the linen. There's the linen, which looks cool, and then here's the raw canvas there. That one looks freaking cool too. Both pre-stretched, pre-framed. All right. So I think this one's turning out fairly unique for
Yeah.
our recent colors. This is the kind of blues and greens color scheme that Will has been in for the past few weeks, as you can see from the Instagram reels. But this one's very unique.
One of the things I wanted to share is that, remember, I'm not trying to overwork the canvas, right? So this is a brand new process for me, right? So I'm trying to see how to soften this and still have a very nice collision of these colors that blend nicely.
You can move the chair. Yeah, that looks really good. Yeah, I'll answer this kind of last question here, and then we'll end this. But do you ever give any seminars about your strategic painting? I think that you can chime in on this too, Will.
Yeah.
Is we're pretty forthcoming on Instagram with
Yeah.
reels and techniques and things like that. So
Yeah.
if you check back through all the reels, every so often there's like an inspired one or using a tools or techniques. But at this point in time, no, there are no seminars or strategic kind of teaching courses. But we kind of like to do these in-person lives and Q&As that often help a lot. So, all right, let's wrap this up. It's been just about 30 minutes. So do you have anything you want to end with?
I think, listen, thanks for listening. And the ultimate goal is not to bore you, but to kind of inspire you. And there's so much content, so many people, so many different artists sharing stuff. But listen, if you find this helpful or encouraging, just let me know. And if there's other questions you have, I mean, this is for all of us. We're here together. This is not, I'm better than anybody else. This is, I'm a creative spirit. I want to encourage everybody to be creative and find their voice and make sure that they move from fear and they can move into a place of love and share that, if it's on a canvas or if it's through music. So thanks for coming.
Yeah. And to wrap this up, I'll say I always save this live video to the feed, so that'll be there very soon. I'll share it in story so you have access to it, because there's a lot of good information that's kind of thrown throughout these. And again, thank you to the Elegantly Raw Canvas, who provided us with these two canvases today, which are freaking cool. Like that one's the linen one and the other one's the regular raw. So we'll put their info in there as well. And please
Gorgeous.
definitely look them up. Yeah. All
Thank
right.
you guys.
Thanks everyone.
Good luck.
Take care.
Have a good day.
Have a great holiday if you celebrate.
Yeah.